Hi, this is Dana. Welcome on my channel where I speak about spiritual warfare. In this particular video, God asked me to speak about a specific moment. Um, it's not clear to me why. um, I guess there are people who listen to my videos on my channel, and somehow um, they don't have a grasp of spiritual warfare, spiritual fighting, and the entire concept and the reason why this happens, and so on. Because this is the moment that God wants me to describe here. So I imagine God thinks that somebody will find some guidance in the way I coped with it. Now, it's not a smart way, don't imagine. But probably this is exactly what God wants people to see, that even if you don't understand from the very beginning what's going on, that doesn't matter. You can't become a very good spiritual fighter. This is my guess. He doesn't want to tell me. He just tells me to talk about that moment, which is not very. It's not a very pleasant moment for me. Well, let's try it, and maybe God will show me on my way of explaining this. As I said in a previous video, in the beginning of 2018, God showed me a number of illegal things done in astral against individuals. Um, I asked if that is acceptable, is okay. God said no, it's not. It's something illegal they have done. I asked God, of course, to change it. God said, you change it. How would you change it if I would let you change it? So I discussed with God for some time about a center. I called it Center for Rescue. But essentially, as we were talking about it, it evolved in a center which would have more than the rescue capability, but would have also enforcement capability in order to make justice, to stop illegal practices, punish the individuals, and make justice to the innocent ones. At that time, I didn't have a concept of spiritual fighting. I didn't have an understanding that each individual should do the spiritual fighting for his own. I just thought, because I came from, as I explained before, I came from a personal experience of a very peaceful, serene, and mystic experience in spirituality with God, with Jesus, and with the saints that are dear to me. um, and I did not encounter this. Of course, I had a spiritual life, and of course, I did, for example, energy cleaning, but I didn't know anything about energy. I just knew this is the way to live, right? And as I was brought up in an Orthodox environment, the fasting is very often. It's 3 times a week, and then you have at least two big fasting periods of 40 days per year, and for Easter and for Christmas. So I obviously that was an energy cleanup. The prayer, the mystic prayer, is an energy cleanup, but I didn't think of them in this way. I just knew this is part of my life, of my private life. So I didn't really have a knowledge about all of this part, which means that you do energy cleanup in order to for spiritual fighting or for healing or for this. I just knew this is how I live my life. So I didn't understand that each individual should be fighting. At the time, what I thought of was that there should be a structure which should make order in astral and ensure the divine will. Because every time God would show me something wrong, I would ask, is your will for this to happen this way? And of course, God would say, no, this is something they have done and it's illegal. So then I figured, astral should be a place of law and order, of justice. Well, the point is, as I said in the previous video, a number of individuals from after God taught me to claim justice and judgment on all those who have done wrong at me, particularly in the context when God showed me that individuals claimed me without having any kind of relationship with me, just in order to steal my rights and my ranking, or to block me from evolving in my ranking. Um, I God then taught me how to claim justice, judgment, and punishment on everyone, and I did so with God next to me. And then these individuals came, and as I said before, they all apologized. They said, "Oh, we didn't want to do this. They forced us to do this," and so on, so on, so. And they want to help because they also want to do something beautiful and be part of this center, and so on, so. Uh, and I explained this before. I made the mistake of thinking that they're being honest, and that has nothing to do with the past, and they're beginning a new life. So I said, there should be a chance for redemption for them, and in this center they could be useful if they would um, disclose all the illegal things being done, which I don't know yet, and if they also provide solutions for how to solve those, and so on. So that was a big mistake, as I learned later on, and God pointed that out to me. They said, God said, the attack happened because you gave undeserved forgiveness. I came specifically to teach you to claim justice, judgment, and punishment. And we worked on a center of rescue in Astral. And then after they came, and they asked for forgiveness, you gave forgiveness. Why? I taught you not to give forgiveness. And the point is, these exact individuals turned around one day suddenly. They all ganged up against me and attacked me. But that was not surprising. But each and every one of them was, I don't even know how to say this respectfully, but it was, in terms of power, they were insignificant compared to me. I knew this, I knew who I am before. And all of a sudden, they had, basically, my power was constrained somehow, and I didn't know how. Because I didn't know anything about spiritual fighting, so I didn't know they were doing black magic at me. I didn't even believe in black magic at the time, to be honest. And anyhow, when this happened in the middle of this turmoil, it was a huge surprise, a huge shock to me, because I couldn't reach for my sword, for example. There were things which I couldn't do all of a sudden. So I went to, I got into my car, I drove to a church, and I prayed to God. Because too much darkness in my house to actually even think, and too much noise. So I went to pray to God, and God came, um, and God said to me, this is actually the moment when which God wants me to describe. I don't know why. And God said to me, I said, "What is going on? What is happening?" And God said, "Dana, they want your gifts. They want to steal your gifts." At the time, as I explained already, I didn't know about gifts. I didn't even know what gifts mean. As I told you, although I was doing spiritual practice and prayer, I didn't know about energy. I didn't have the concept of energy and how energy works, and many things were, I was doing them instinctively. And actually, God said, when I asked him why, how I knew instinctively to do mystic prayer, because nobody taught me. And God said, it was a soul calling for you. It was a soul calling. Well, it was the same with the rest of things. So when he talked about gifts, I had no clue what he means. I keep in mind that I was under tremendous pressure, and I actually said to God, I said, "What gifts? I don't care about gifts. Let them take whatever they want. I don't care about this. Just make them stop." You know. Obviously, for a reason which escapes me right now, God didn't feel like explaining all of this to me in that very moment. He only said, Dana, you must learn how to fight, you know. And he just turned around and left. I was so upset. I cannot explain to him. I was so upset. I returned home, of course, because already the church was closing. I had to leave. Um, so I returned home, and in a very short time, the attack started again. And it lasted for 30 hours. So I kept fighting actually for 30 hours. It was a spiritual attack, it was an astral attack. And after that, after a while, I went back to church, to a monastery close by. So I asked the priest, I said, I need to speak with someone, because I, I wasn't sure even that is God already. I said, God could not do this to me. God cannot just tell me stupid stuff about some gifts, which I didn't know what it means, what kind of gifts. I thought some sort of material gifts. I didn't know about these spiritual gifts. And I didn't realize, and I'm honest in this, I didn't realize that even speaking with God is a gift. I didn't talk to anyone ever about it, you know. So I didn't even know if other people do the same thing. Maybe they speak with God themselves, you know. How would I know? Like, I don't tell anyone, maybe they don't tell anyone. How would I know what other people do? You know? So I didn't think of this as a gift. I just thought of it, and actually, this is how I always described it. I just thought of it of my world, my private world. Um, and so then I didn't know that many of the things that I was doing were gifts. And I didn't imagine that somebody would want to steal them or to block them, because I was speaking to God about my stuff. I was never speaking to God about anybody else. So why would somebody else be concerned about me talking to God? Anyhow, I just I was very puzzled, because I was like, I don't think that's God. God would never turn his back and leave and tell me just to learn to fight. To fight what? To fight who? What is this? I couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand. So I said, I need to speak with a human, because something is wrong here. And all of a sudden, my power is constrained. All of a sudden, God is talking weird to me. There is something wrong. So I went to the monastery nearby, and the priest came to me, and the priest so I went to the monastery where I already told the story in another video, where I claimed justice and judgment and punishment on the church, on the Orthodox Church and Catholic Church, on the entire Christian church, which is doing liturgy and so on, and especially against those who did witchcraft at me. Okay, so then I asked the priest, I explained the priest what happened. I explained to this priest what happened. I explained about the attack, and I asked him, I said, what is this? Why is this happening? What does it mean? And the priest said, this was a surprise attack. Um, and I was like, why is God allowing this? Who are these that are attacking me? And the priest said, these are fallen angels, and this is a surprise attack. And God does not allow this, but people have free will. So these are fallen angels, and they don't listen to God. Normally, they shouldn't have attacked you. But because they are fallen angels and they don't listen to God, they attacked you. And I was like, I was so puzzled, and I was like, okay, so now what do I do? How do I stop this? And the priest said to me, well, don't worry, because God will give you wrath. This, the I don't know if I pronounce this correctly. It's WREATH, wrath in heaven. And I said, what does it mean, a wrath in heaven? In heaven, and she said basically that I will become saint. I was like so mad, I'm like, what the fuck he means by this? These people are, everybody's turning crazy on me now. Why are they talking so weird to me, everybody? And I said, excuse me, I'm not interested in this wreath, I'm not a saint, and definitely I'm now fucking martyr, you know. I don't care about any wreath. I want to understand what this is, and I will win this, whatever this is. You say it's a spiritual warfare. I will win it. I don't need any kind of wrath. I left the church very upset. He said, though you shouldn't worry so much, the priest said, because somebody here in the neighborhood did it and they have much less power than you. They're insignificant compared to you. You shouldn't worry. I left so angry at the church. And I was like, what the fuck happens? Everybody talks crazy to me. Nobody makes sense to me anymore. So I asked Jesus, um, what is going on? And I asked Jesus, I remember now, I asked Jesus, I said, is it true what this priest says to me? Is it true that these are fallen angels? Is it true? So I asked Jesus everything that the priest said to me, basically. And Jesus said, yes, it is true. And I asked Jesus, is it true that God wants me to get to receive this wreath in heaven? And Jesus said, yes, it is true. Oh my God, that got me so mad. I cannot explain to you. I was so angry. I was so upset. And I said, this is such a huge betrayal. You all want me to receive this wrath, to be this martyr, to be this victim, this defeated person. I'm not. I'm not, and I will not be a defeated person. And I said, you teach me, Jesus, how to fight this. I got so upset over all this. I cannot explain to you. And I asked Jesus again, why are they doing this to me? Why? Why are they doing this? Jesus said the same thing. They want your gifts. What gifts? What gifts they want? I was very puzzled. I couldn't understand. So I asked Jesus to ask me to help me fight this, to understand this, and to fight it. I didn't speak to God for many months afterward. I was so upset. I was so upset. I cannot explain to you. I was so upset because I said, God should have told me. We spoke always. He should have told me about this. He should have told me to go learn about all this crap that I only now hear about all these bioenergeticians and energy work and spiritual fighting and all of this crap. And God, above all, shouldn't allow them to do this. Anyhow, I was very upset about all of this. It took time. I didn't learn instantly. It actually took time. It was that priest who recommended to go to see a bioenergetician. I went to two of them. I told the story in another video, I think, in the meditations, in one of those videos with the meditations. I started learning, I think, for 4 or 5, I went to 4 or 5 seminars related to Reiki. Then I moved to another one to pranic healing, which seemed um, more to my liking. I think it's more professional, or at least this is what those individuals presented, basically. So I liked pranic healing more than I liked Reiki. The point is, and I'm not sure, but I believe this is what God wants me to say, sort of. So it will be not an example, obviously, because I didn't cope well with this. It took time for me to actually start understanding. It took a few months to actually understand what gifts means. Um, and it took a long time for me to understand that even talking to God is a gift, that even the mystic prayer in itself is a gift, um, and many other things. It took a very long time for me to understand that with my own hands I can heal. So there, although again I say I always had premonitions, I always had instincts, and I always saw through people, more than this was clear to me, that I always saw through people more than anybody around me, but I thought I'm smart. I thought I'm just a very good analyst, and I can detect the signs, and I can draw conclusions logically. And so I didn't know uh, that I'm a seer. I didn't know about gifts all in all together. So I imagine there are other people out there who are in a similar situation, because we were never taught about this, and the church makes an effort to preclude people from learning from this. Because during confession, I would tell, for example, to my priest about my premonitions and about my dreams, and he always discouraged me. He always said, "Oh, this is Satan, don't think of it, don't think of it." And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell you anymore, because this is not Satan, this is God, and if you behave like this, I will not tell you anymore. But I also didn't know what to do with it, obviously, since I had nobody to talk with. So the church doesn't encourage people. Actually, the church doesn't much talk about spiritual fighting, and clearly they don't disclose secrets about how to fight spiritually. Um, and they even deny, the priests in the church where I used to go actually kept saying, don't believe in witchcraft and in black magic. And I was like, okay, but then why you have all these special ceremonies for casting out demons, exorcism, and all of this, if that doesn't really exist, so it's very obvious that they are untruthful, and they are on purpose hiding the truth from people. Now, I imagine there are other people who are not aware of their gifts, even if they see, like I used to see, that I do something differently than other people. Now it makes sense to me. It's a gift. I have a gift as compared to other people. At the time, I didn't even think about it. It was because it was part of me. So I imagine there are other people who are in a similar situation. Um, and even if you have sort of encounters with God, with Jesus, or with saints, maybe you don't give much thought about it to understand how or why, or what does it mean and what will come next. I didn't do so, obviously. I had, for example, Jesus teaching me to do soul healing by invocation, um, and many other things that I have learned from Jesus and from God and from Virgin Mary. But I never figured that I should actually give it a label, give it a definition. This is a gift. This is an activation. I didn't think of it in this logic. I was always thinking in a mystic logic. And it was my private world, right? So I imagine there are other people who actually live in this private world of theirs, which is good. I remember when I used to do that, and that was something that I cherished a lot. But we are called today to do something different, simply because what was hidden from us is that with these gifts, also darkness starts coming after you. In order to, like God said, they want your gifts. uh, but to steal your gifts, that means to either enslave you, or to block you, or to steal your energy so they would be able to manifest different things. Or there is also, I learned in recent past, there is a possibility for them to actually steal your gift, to transfer a gift from you to them in specific circumstances. And although it's not the same, because you use that gift with God, they will use it through darkness, because it's a dark entity they use in order to take that gift from you. It's too much details. The point is, they can actually do that as well. um, so I hope this helps. I imagine this is the reason why God asked me to talk about this. That if you do not feel, if you're not familiar with these topics, and you're not used with putting a label in describing in terms of spiritual fighting or spiritual warfare, This is because we have been taught this way. We have been taught to limit our understanding of spirituality only to the usual positive practice in spirituality, but that's not all, and we are much more than this. And I know from experience that you just cannot avoid it. God actually said, if you would have started fighting earlier, if you wouldn't have isolated yourself in your world, you know we kept showing you that this person is betraying you, this person is gossiping about you, this is, and you kept saying, God will punish them, I don't have time for them. And if you would have done spiritual fighting instead, you wouldn't have gotten to this point to have a spiritual surprise attack, because they would have never gained that power over you if you wouldn't have given undeserved forgiveness. And I said, I never gave undeserved forgiveness. I just transmuted. I didn't want to have anything to do with them. That's all. And I always trusted God to make justice for me. So, but that's, yeah, God says to me, that's a passive attitude. Yeah, thank you. And then the point that I'm supposed to be making in this video is that a passive attitude is not safe for you anymore at this point in time. It was never desirable. We were just diverted into this passive attitude by hiding from us a lot of knowledge about who we are, what are our gifts, what is our ranking, what is our purpose, and including this ability to actually communicate with the divine and to seek answers and knowledge and understanding of who you are, why you're here, what's your purpose, and um, what how to work with your gifts, right? And so much more. So I imagine that this is the message, that you must start actually seeking, and ideally you start early. You don't wait like me until you get a surprise attack to start understanding what is spiritual fighting, what is a spiritual warfare, and how you can actually defend yourself. Because if you start early, you can learn what type of gifts you have, what type of bondage you have, what type of um, attack could come at you, so you can break those bondages early enough. You can do this for your children as well, so your children won't have to fight to break bondages and so on, or generational curses or so on. Well, this is it, I guess. I don't usually talk about gifts. I don't like to put labels. This is why also here on YouTube, my channel carries only my name, because I don't I think there's too much madness and competition, pointless competition about gifts, about ranking, because at the end of the day, I know God very well. With each and every individual, sooner or later, it will happen exactly what God wanted. It might be later if you don't learn your lessons, and it might be after you get through very awful circumstances. But I also advise that people don't speak much about their gifts, because you can trigger other people, and you can create you can attract more attacks, not create, attract more attacks. Now, to conclude also my story, Jesus did teach me how to fight, and Jesus was with me, and I started from that second to fight spiritual fighting, and it took me a few months to start talking to God again. And I told Jesus, I said, I want to be victorious. I want to win this. I will win this. Actually, I told that priest as well, I'm not, I don't care about this. Hell no. I'm not a victim, and I will never be a martyr, and I don't care to be a saint. I want to win this. I don't know who the fuck are these fallen angels and what the fuck this means, but I will win this. Jesus will teach me. And Jesus did teach me. So in case you find yourself in a surprise attack, I guess this video can help you in that situation as well. So you will know ahead of time what is going on. And Jesus did help me for a few months. Actually, he helped me always, but for a few months, he was my only help in teaching me how to fight again. I was too upset to speak with God, but then as I started gaining again some degree of control over the situation, and after Jesus explained to me many times all of these concepts, so I can understand why God uh, didn't allow it, but still it happened. That was for me a huge contradiction. I was like, if God doesn't allow it, doesn't happen, which is again a fake knowledge which is taught by church. Thank you. And it took a long time for Jesus to explain to me about all of this. God does not allow it, but God does allow free will. That individual has free will. He chose against God, so he attacked you. So now what will happen will be punishment for them. um, Anyhow, so it took some time to explain to me, and so I'll grasp it, so I'll start talking to God again. And then God came and he taught me much about my gifts, and he activated additional gifts for me. So in case you don't know about a gift, I advise you start learning, because this will be very helpful for you. I'll stop here because it's already a long video, although I actually didn't know in the beginning that I have enough to say on this topic. If you have questions, as always, don't hesitate to ask me. Please subscribe to my channel to make sure that we make sure to send to make this information reach everyone. um, I do advise that you learn about your gifts. This is important. uh, I do hope that you will not have a surprise attack, and you will learn enough about spiritual fighting, and you will start fighting your battles, spiritual battles, proactively, instead of just waiting. Because if a surprise attack comes, that means that they have created already a lot of black magic, a lot of illegal um, practices, occult practices, illegal in astral and uh, in astral space by divine norms and justice. So that will be more painful and more dramatic to recover from, because the shock